storm, but I won't go down. I hear your voice carried in the rhythm of the wind to call me out. You would cross the ocean so I wouldn't drown. You've never been closer than you are right now. Jireh, you are enough. Jireh, you are enough. I will be content in every circumstance. You are Jireh, you are enough. Ever enough, always enough, more than enough. Ever enough, always enough, more than enough. I don't want to forget how I feel right now on the mountaintop. I can see so clear what it's all about. Yeah. Stay by my side when the sun goes down. Don't want to forget how I feel right now. Come on, you say, you are enough. And we're singing, you are. Come on, point to yourself and say, I will be good. Doesn't matter what. Chosen, I know who I am. Yeah. I know what you've spoken. I'm already loved more than I could imagine. That is enough. Praise the Lord, everybody. God bless you. Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful Jonesville Rhema and Full Gospel Apostolic Church
broadcast. We are certainly grateful that God has blessed you to be able to tune in to us. I want to tell you that God has a rhema just for you today. I'm very grateful for God's goodness and to my mountain state brothers and sisters and pastors and suffragan bishops. God bless each and every one of you, and still to my Northern Philippine Council, District Council brothers and sisters, my friends. I'm also glad that you're able to tune in and to watch us. Now, today, I'm going to hit into some real wonderful things that the Lord has inspired me about, and I want to talk about sowing. I want to talk about sowing today, and sowing because the more that there's pressure put on the people of God, God has a way to make us flourish. And I remember that uh, that the more in the scriptures in the children of Israel when they were being pressed in Egypt, the more they worked them harder, the more they multiplied. And so much so until they had to try to uh, kill the babies because they continued to multiply. Pressure with the children of God because of our crying out to God causes God to bless us more and to give us a greater increase and to cause us to prosper. As a matter of fact, I missed thinking about that, or I overlooked that. And during this pandemic, and began to try to encourage people not to worry about sowing as much because of the fact that the stimulus money and everything, but I totally forgot. I totally forgot that the more pressure, the more God gives an increase and causes increase to happen to his people. So today, as I pull you into this study with me today, I want you to embrace the fact that the more pressure, the more God is going to increase, and the more God is going to bless, and the more God is going to allow you to experience his best. God is just great when things are at its worst. God is just great in our lives when things are at our worst. So let's get started on the sowing, and let's talk about why sowing is so important. Now, let me give you a few scriptures that would help you to see what sowing is. Sowing is a law. Sowing is a law, just like the law of gravity. And that law of gravity says what goes up must come down. So gravity pulls it down. It cannot stay up. Once it leaves your hand, gravity is going to pull it down. So it's something that you cannot throw it away, or you can't say, well, I'm not going to believe in gravity. And you jump up, jump out, release something from what was holding it up. It's going to come down. It's going to come down because of the fact of gravity. So it's a law. And when Newton discovered the law, he only discovered something that already exists. So it wasn't like he made it happen. It was already in the earth. It was always a part of the earth. And because it existed, that means he only found out truths that already existed but they credited him as discovering. So it didn't start come in existence when he discovered it. It was already in the process. So it is the same thing when it comes to giving and sowing. It is already in the process. It's in the process that whatever a man sow, that shall he also reap. It's already in the earth. It's already in the earth. So when you discover it, or when I discover it, when I find out about it, it's already in existence. It's a fact what giving does. It's a fact because giving brings a, a reaping. It brings money back. It whatever you give, whatever you sow, that means you're not going to lose it. That means you're going to get that with an increase. Let me give you a beautiful scripture that we used years ago in our church that really catapulted us into a prosperity as the people of God learn to give. In the book of Proverbs, chapter number 3, beginning at verse 9 and 10. And the Bible says in Proverbs 3, 9 and 10, it says, honor the Lord. You got that? It says, honor the Lord with thy substance, with thy substance. Now substance is are the things that you have, that you are the owner of, that God bless you with. And he says thy substance, and he's saying this, and with the first fruit of all thine increase. So he says that which God has provided for you and bless you with, those are your substance. He said, and then he says, take the first fruits of everything that is your increase as a farmer and give that unto the Lord. Give that unto the Lord, first fruit. So to think about it, it says that God wants you to create an honor system that says that he is worth being given to. Now, most of us think that, no, God, I want you to give to me. And God is saying, no, I want you to learn to give to me. And I want you to learn that when you give to me, I am going to give you more. See, I'm going to bless you more. I'm going to multiply more. So I need you to learn to give to me. I remember as a parent, I used to have this habit when I would come home from work. I would just bring all my things in the house and I wouldn't go back. And I would just bring it all in my hand. And I thought about one day that my children are so accustomed to me serving them. And I said, well, I'll serve them. I give to them. I'm always buying. I'm always picking up. I'm cooking for them. I cook breakfast for them. I'll cook breakfast every morning. They're going to school. I recognized that I was creating a habit. Even when we would go out to do, on trips, I would bring the bags in. I would pick up all the bags and load them up in the car. And I enjoyed doing it because I enjoyed serving them. And I recognized that was not totally proper to create such an attitude with my children, or a habit or process of not honoring or helping me. So I began to leave some of my things in the car. I would leave in the car, and I would come in the house, and I would say to my son, I said, "I want you to go out and get my case for me." And my wife, when she first saw me do it, she says, "Why don't you bring your own things in? Why do you send him out to do that for you?" And I said to her, "I want him to learn to do for me because I'm always doing for him. I wanted to learn that it should be reciprocal." And when I taught that, and when I demonstrated that, it helped me to understand that I needed my son to develop the idea that I'm worth being given to. Sure, I give to you, but I'm worth you giving to me. I know as a parent, and as a son, I was so used to my father and mother providing for us. And as I became a man, my father held back his hand. And he didn't hold back his hand from his daughters, but he held back his hand from me because he wanted me to learn that you will be the man one day, and you will have to go and gain things and be the provider. And I need you to not depend on me giving to you. So I thank God that he did that. I thought it was cruel. I thought it was unfair, unjust, but it was just teaching me the principles that you not only do you have to get it as a leader in your family, but you have to have an honor system for the one who provides for you. And I want to say this because giving, when it comes to God, there must be an honor system. There must be an honor system. You have to learn that God is worth giving to. I want you to write that down because this is so very vital to you, that God is worth giving to. And as a matter of fact, he's more than worth it. You need to esteem him so high that says, before I give to anybody, I'm going to give to God. Before I give to anyone, I'm going to give to God. And that's why giving in the house of God. So many times you say, well, how can I give to God? Well, when you give to what God supports, to what does the work of God, the ministry of God. And let me give you an example of that, because in the scriptures, there is so many examples of people who gave to the work of God. In the days of Jesus, there were those who gave to the work that Jesus was doing. And in the book of Second Kings, let me see, can I find that for you? In the book of Second Kings, there was also a practice of giving that was done in first fruits. As a matter of fact, in the book of Second Kings, if you would look with me, there was a time when there was a famine. Is that say Second Kings? And in that famine, it was very egregious. It was a very egregious famine, and they needed, and they were trying to make it through that period. And one of the things that happened was that the people in that famine needed God to make a way for them. And one of the ways that God made a way was to use the prophet, to bless what they gave. As a matter of fact, they were doing some work. In the city, and the Lord, by His grace, was able to take a bad city and bless it by the blessing of the man of God. Once, once, once it got to the man of God that there was a problem, then that man of God was able to turn that thing around with the blessings of his anointing. And this is the thing that you want to always learn, is that once you begin to sow, once you begin to give, and you're giving to the man of God, God will not only bless, not only will He bless, but He would take things that was messed up and just purify it. Look at this story in the book of 2 Kings, chapter number 2, verse 19. And the men of the city said unto Elijah, Behold, I pray that the situation of this city is pleasant as my Lord said, but the water is not, and the ground is barren. Barren. Listen to this. The man of God is going to turn this thing around. And he said, Bring me a new cruse and put salt therein. And they brought it to him and went forth into the spring in the waters and cast the salt in there. And he said, This is what the man of God said. Thus said the Lord, I have healed these waters. There shall not be from thence any more death or barren land. Or barren land. Listen to this. So the waters was healed unto that day. Unto this day, according, listen to that, according to the saying of the man of God. According to the saying of Elisha, which he spake. My God. God turned that thing around. There is something that's amazing that happens when you bless those who are doing the work of God. And that's what the house of God is all about. And that's why the Bible talks about when you give and when you bring it, he talks about bringing it into a central place and giving it to the man of God because of what God has entrusted him to do, to carry the message, to do the sacrifices, to be a light in a world of darkness. And the need is to bless him. And when you bless him, God is going to bless you. Let me give you another example. The Bible talks about where there was a dearth, he said, and Elijah, this is 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 38. Elijah came again to Gilgal, and there was a dearth, which is a famine, kind of, like a barren situation, heat and no water. Listen, in the land, and the sons of prophet were sitting before him. And he said unto his servants, Set on the great pot and seize the pottage for the sons of the prophet. And one went out into the field to gather herbs and found a wild vine. Look at this. And gathered thereof wild gourds, his lap full, and came and shared them into the pot of pottage, for they knew them not. They didn't know it. What's going to happen? So they poured out for the man to eat, and it came to pass as they were eating of the party that they cried out and said, "O thou man of God, there is death in the pot." I mean, there's some wild things in there that can kill people, and they could not eat thereof. But he said, this is what the man of God said, "Bring meal." And he cast it into the pot, and he said, "Pour out for the people, and that they may eat." And there was no harm in the pot. See, once the man of God was able to bless it, he was able to bless it. Now, God didn't come down from heaven and bless it. God didn't come down from heaven and do it. It was a man of God, the one that God was using. Once he was a part of it, God used him, that anointing on his life, to bring about the blessing. Listen to this. Listen to this. And there came a man from Baalisha. This is verse 42. Shalisha, Baal, Shalisha, and brought the man of God bread of the first fruits. Look at that. 20 loaves of barley and 4 ears of corn, and in the husk thereof. And he said, "Give unto the people that they may eat." And his servitor said, "What should I set this before 100 men?" He said again, "Give the people that they eat. Thus said the Lord, they shall eat and shall leave thereof." Listen, did you see that? The guy who was getting ready to serve said, "Man, this ain't enough for all these people. This ain't enough. This is not enough." And but the man of God says, "Yeah, do what I'm telling you." You see, that's the premise about giving. Giving don't have to make sense. And that's the problem that most people have about reaping. They want it to make sense. No, giving and sowing is something you do in faith. You do it with the confidence that there's a transformation of increase that's going to happen once you give it. It's going to come back to you as an increase. That God is going to create an increase in your life. And that increase is going to happen once you give it. Once you sow it, it's going to happen. Listen, it's not going to be logical, because given when you have a need, you're thinking, my need is so great. I need to keep this. No, your need, as some have said, and I don't mean to repeat what people say without, from a cliche standpoint, but your need is the thing that you need to use as a means to bring increase back to you. Someone would call it a seed. Your need is that seed. Your need is that blessing that will cause a blessing. So let's call that need, or that seed, or that substance, the thing that's going to cause a blessing. Because whatever you have is a blessing from God. But when you give it and sow it, it becomes a greater blessing to you. Now look at what happens again. And the servant said, "What shall I set this before 100 men?" He says, "Give the people that they eat. For thus said the Lord, they shall eat and shall leave thereof." So he set it before them, and they did eat and left thereof according to the word of the Lord. So it became just like this man of God said. See, a lot of times when it comes to sowing, you don't understand, or giving, you think that, why would I give to him? Well, the reason you should give is because there's a blessing that comes behind giving to God's projects, or to God's assignment to the earth. We need priests in this earth. We need men of God, prophets, pastors. We need them in the earth. We need them. They bless the earth, and they bless you. They cause increase to come back to your life. Those of you right now that know that in this season that you're saying, man, we are in a financial challenge, but I want to challenge you to give to God. And I want to challenge you to give with faith. Give knowing that what you have won't pay all your bills anyway. It won't pay everything, but giving will make it multiply. Giving will make it multiply. Let me go back and let me read this again for you. All right. There came this man from Baal-Shalisha, bought the man of God bread of the first fruit, 20 loaves of barley, and 4 ears of corn in the husk thereof. And the man of God said, give unto the people that they may eat. We go back and pick up verse 38. Elisha came unto Gilgal, and there was a dearth in the land. So there was a great shortage in the land. That dearth was a great shortage in the land. Somebody brought him something of his first fruit. He said, give it to the people. When it was given it to the people, the one who was giving could see that it was more people than what he had to share. And he didn't want to look funny or look strange by giving. Just like most people today. They get it in their heart. They said, man, this is not logical. I don't want to look bad. So to him, he took the responsibility of thinking that it was going to affect him, or he was going to be embarrassed, and it was going to be a shortage, and people were going to be looking at him. But my friend, once he did, now, they not only did they look at him, but they were grateful that he gave, that he did it. You see, the way you bless your house is you got to bless the God who bless you with the house. The way you bless your food, you got to bless the one who gave you food. The way you bless your money, you got to bless the one who gave you money. And when you do that, increase is coming to your life. And when you do that, blessings are coming back to you. Let me read this again. Listen, the dirt was there. 2 miracles happened. The first miracle was a miracle of how the pot was transformed. How what could have made them sick, the poison was taken out by the man of God. What could be the worst thing in your life, in your financial situation? God wanted to turn it into best times of your life. But you got to learn to sow. You have to learn to give. And you got to understand that giving is not robbing you. Giving is blessing. This thing was totally transformed. So instead of pouring out the pot, the man of God was able to transform it. Sometimes when we get our back up against the wall, we want to throw it away. We want to throw things away and just give up. And giving up is not the solution. The solution is being able to say, Lord, I'm going to sow this to you. I need you to help me. I'm going to give this. I'm going to go put this in the hand of the man of God because I need a blessing. I want the man of God to receive this, God, because I need a blessing from you. And I'm telling you, God will do just that. I'm telling you right now. Right now, those of you who might want to go and Givelify and say, I'm going to sow this seed because I want to bless the man of God. I want to bless the house of God. I want the house of God to continue to do the work of God. And I don't care. I want to just put my hand in it. I just want to give my encouragement to it. I want to sow into the mission fields of that ministry of the church. I want that church. I want my church to be blessed. I want my pastor, the man of God, the woman of God. I want that blessing because I need a blessing in my life. My friend, I'm telling you, there's a transformation that takes place because of the people that God has assigned to do his work. Because they're assigned to do his work, God said, you bless them, and I'm going to bless you even more. You help them, I'm going to help you even more. Now look at this again. Look at this again. Look at this again. The pot was transformed. The pot was transformed. What they thought, just pour it out. Said, no, don't pour it out. Don't throw it away because you need it. See, sometimes that's what people do. You see, when you don't see, it's like when you don't sow, it's like you're throwing away. Like you're saying, well, I ain't got enough to give and I'm not going to give that. No, that's like throwing it away. Give so you can get an increase. Give so the increase can come. Give so that the curse can be broken over your pot. All of us got a pot, and God needs to bless your pot. But God can't bless the pot if the pot won't be sown. You got to give for God to bless that pot. All of us got a pot in our lives. All of us have where bad things have been happening in our pot. But God is saying your relationship with that man and woman of God is going to determine the blessing that I'm going to bring to your pot. Turn to the man of God, and the man of God took a meal, put it in the pot, and man transformed it. Meal. It's amazing how God uses the man of God to bless that pot. Your pot got shortages in it. Your pot, your family, your bank account, your house. You got shortages in your house. Bless the man and woman of God. Bless that house. Just, and do it with faith. Do it with faith. And say, Lord, just as you transformed that pot, the pot I got in my house, I need to transform. Our pots, we're running behind. We need finances, resources. Bless my pot, Lord. I'm going to sow right now to get my pot blessed. You know, the thing about 10% in this part we read earlier is first fruit. But the thing about it is that when you want to be blessed, and you know you need a blessing. I mean, you're already blessed, but you need a bigger increase, a more of an increase. You need to sow. You need to sow. Look at this. Look at this. Let me go back and pick this up. Now, there's a dearth, right? So, but this man who comes from Baal Shalisha, he bought the man of God bread of the first fruits. There's a dearth now. But this man got some kind of a harvest. He brings it to the man of God. He brings it. If you're in a dearth, you got something. Wouldn't you save it? Yeah, wouldn't you save it? When you say, man, I'm going to store this for me. No. He brings it to the man of God. Principle. What's the principle? You remember? Yeah, you do. I told you. I told you, you remember the principle? Right. Proverbs 3, 9, and 10. He brings it to the man to God. There's the dirt going on. What happened? Honor the Lord without substance. The first fruit of all thy increase is the promise. So shall your barns be filled with plenty. The man needed a greater increase. Brought it to the man of God. Presses shall burst out with new wine. That meant the moment he gave to the man of God, God released the blessing in his field. His field had a transformation. Here, because that's the promise right there. In a time of scarcity, he honored the man of God. In a time of a dirt, he found a man of God, brought it to him because he wanted a greater increase. What do you want? Don't you want more? Don't you want God to bless your income? Don't you want God to pay these bills for you? Don't you need a blessing in resources? Come on. Clients, customers, businessman, don't you need a blessing? Come on, sow it. Sow it. Listen, this stuff works. It works. And I got to teach it. because it'll bless you in these high inflations. And this high inflation, this is going to help you. You're in a high inflation. They're projecting things to, and this is going to inflation-proof your house. This is going to inflation-proof you. Well, he said, the things are going high, and you're saying, but look, I got money to buy it. Things are going to, but I just came in and caught a deal, caught a sale. God is going to bless you, but you have to learn to honor. You got to learn to honor. And how do you honor? You honor the man of God. How do you honor? You honor the woman of God. What do? You honor the house of God. You honor what? You honor what God says. That is going to give you an increase. There are those of you that right now that need an increase in your life, and God is telling you what you need to do. God is telling you what you need to do. And you don't have enough to pay everything anyway. So honor God. Honor God. Honoring God is so amazing. I remember a couple in our church that lived in Hilton Head. And he caught on to this message on first fruit. And man, he came over to the church and he just sowed, and he sowed an amount and caught my attention because he gave it to me, the pastor, and it was first fruit to the pastor, and it just shocked me. I looked at it, but he was honoring the word, and because of that, man, not only did God bless him and bless his wife, but man, they are really blessed. They are really blessed. They moved from where they're living somewhere else. His wife, oh God, went to the University of Birmingham, Alabama, UAB, and my God, financially, just so smart in school. That the went to school. The school tuition was paid. Everything. They worked together, and now they're just sitting blessed. They're just blessed. You see, and you want to be blessed, and you need to be blessed. So now. So right now. Why don't you do that right now while you have a chance? And watch God prove what he says. He says, your barns will be filled with plenty. Take it. God bless. Reach out to us. Reach out to us. Let us help you. to be inflation-proof.
If he dresses the lilies with beauty and splendor, how much more will he clothe you? How much more will he clothe you? If he watches over every sparrow, how much more will he love you? How much more will he love you? If he dresses the lilies with beauty and splendor, how much more will he clothe you? How much more will he clothe you? If he watches over every sparrow, how much more does he love you? How much more does he love you? If he dresses the lilies with beauty and splendor, how much more will he clothe you? How much more will he clothe you? If he watches every sparrow, how much more? How much more does he love you? How much more? How much more? How much more? How much more? According to his power working in us, already love more than you ask. More than you ask, think or imagine. According to his power working in us, it's more than enough. More than you ask, think or imagine. According to his power working in us, it's more than enough.
Real sweet, Miranda Tim.
Jireh,
Come on, y'all.
you are enough.
Come on, y'all. Say.
Jireh.